So I kind of made a deal that I would come back and get another machine with a working spool gun, and I found one. And luckily, this came to me at a great deal, so I picked it up, and yeah, for what it was worth, I cannot complain altogether. Great purchase. I'll be able to do whatever I want. I don't necessarily need to do aluminum right now, but in the future, if ever I need to do aluminum, I can do aluminum again. And you can see the test plate there of aluminum. I had some different settings going on, was just trying to see what it looked like and what it felt like with the different settings. Right out the gate, it generally had the right settings for the aluminum. But I do have a few very minor gripes about it, about the different things. But yeah, let's see. It's not going to be very clear, but aluminum is this one. So closer 9J and 8J. I ran mine at 8H, so lower, and it seemed to perform better. It was actually putting out significant amount of heat just with that setting, so I felt it ran well. And then show you my this is flux, so one straight bead. I did, don't really know how to describe it, but it's a loop like this. So you're pushing your weld, which if you were running solid wire with CO2, that's how you'd want to do it to get the oxidation out. You want to push it out. You want to continually push it out. So that's what I learned in my other jobs. Didn't necessarily learn that in welding school, but come over time with the different jobs, found that to be the best. No significant burn through. A little tiny bit, I guess, right there, right up here. But, I mean, looks like a really nice weld to me. Small material, so it's going to absorb heat easier anyways. And then, so let's see if we can get good lighting on that. So with aluminum and solid wire, you're going to have that divot at the end, and really when I was doing the aluminum job that I did, the only way you compensate for that is add a tack at the end after you're done welding to fill it in. That's what you're supposed to do. So 8H, it was hot, the plate is why there's another H. 8H was the setting, 120 volts, because that's all I can run right now. But it does come with a separate cord to attach to 240, so that's nice. It's not like a plug to another plug like the Eastwood was. I think that's what the first one here, which was cold, is what they were. Man, it's not coming in clear. Let's see. Try and get some different lighting on it. It wasn't bad, first weld. Second weld, I was a little sloppy, so there was some, like, right there. There's some gaps in, like, right there. It's just my bad judgment. This one, it was cold. It was the next day. Ran 8H again just to see what it would look like. I mean, it looks fine in the picture, but in the video, but it was a little on the low side. The weld fell on this plate mostly, so was getting used to how aluminum ran again, and then just a bunch of different other welds. This one definitely too hot. This one was too hot, burnt right through. This one was too cold generally. I did some welds on the back and wrote those down, just to mess around, just to get more welding in. So yeah. What can I say about this? I'm not fond of this necessarily. It's very cheap plastic, so it could break easily, which is not good. You got to be very careful with that. And I don't understand why. I mean, the guns that I'm used to with higher quality welders, the air always comes through the gun, but I guess you can't. Well, yeah, they have to do it somehow. I don't know why they're not running it through. And there is a port in here for the regular gun to get the CO2 through it. So I don't know why you can't run the argon through it, because the spool gun, you have to attach the air here and it adjusts up here. This all the way down is the spool gun. And like, I don't understand why you have to have a separate port for the argon, but I guess that is what it is. What else? There is something else about the spool gun, but I was trying to think, save that for last. I mean, the knobs are very loose, but I mean, a lot of welders are like that. Even various millers I was using in the past had very loose knobs. Like the Eastwood, the fan runs all the time on this one, so I assumed same thing. It's what, an inverter? I don't know. I'm not up to date with all the newest tech or whatever, but I guess it's supposed to be lighter because of that. So yeah, I'm used to a machine that doesn't have a fan running all the time and only runs if it's starting to get to its duty cycle. But that is what it is. So for the wire stick out, I have it actually like about right here, like at the end of my fingernail, right around there. So only like a fingernail's worth of stick out. I try to get it like if the nozzle was coming to a tip, is kind of how I do it. And with the flux, you don't have to have it obviously stuck out that far. It really doesn't matter though with flux to some degree, but you get better control if you're closer anyways. So yeah. But my gripe about the gun is not that it doesn't work, because it obviously does. Sorry about putting you down there for a second. The tension for the drive roll is fine. Here's a close-up. So no teeth. I cannot get it to focus, unfortunately, any better. I have it on wide angle for the start of the video to get the whole machine in the frame. But yeah, so I had it, the first two welds that you saw on that plate, I had the tension rod set at about 50, the tension for the drive roll set out about 50%, and it's more around 60 to 75 right now. It's hard to tell, but that's where it's at. So the gripe is, I'll show you on the diagram. So it has two nuts. It has the one nut. How do I do this? It's kind of another gripe too, honestly. But I mean, you're not gonna be able to get it all, really. It is what it is. So this locks the wheel in, and I'm doing it the wrong way. And then under here is supposed to be a tensioner for the spool itself, and it doesn't do anything. I took the spool off and looked at it. Well, it didn't have a spool initially, but I had to feed it in and all that, of course. But I took a look at the spool tensioner, and it does nothing. Not that that matters necessarily, but they're making a statement like, oh, adjusting it changes how it feeds. No, I literally unscrewed it, messed around with the spindle of the spool, and it didn't do anything. There's no difference. So, not that that was a problem because it still functioned fine. You can see the nut there. It's screwed in right there, the little black piece on the outer side. Not the threads, but so I don't know. I mean, if that's all the problem that there is, that's not really a big problem because it welded just fine. A little more practice again, and I could be doing a little bit better. I only had a little bit of material to work with for right now. Didn't feel like going out and getting a bunch more. Not really wanting to spend that money on metal when I already spent a lot of money on all this. But again, thankfully, I was able to get a very good price on it all. But I'm going to pack up the spool gun now because, like I said, I don't have anything for it. But the old table that I had in the first video, I'm going to chop up for scrap. I actually have a use for the sheet metal that I'm going to probably cut and weld with solid wire, not flux, because I don't want to have the hassle of trying to clean flux on that. And I'm going to try and make scoops out of the vents on my car hood, at least one scoop, just one. Test that out and see how well that performs. Probably just like that much of a scoop, somewhere around there. So yeah, I'll get some more use out of it, and it'll just be something I can tinker with. There's another guy called Mr. Thessalonian. He made a exoskeleton suit out of a wheelchair, and kind of want to take his idea and armor plate it. He went with a later version of it, making it electrical powered and all that jazz. I don't have intentions for that. It'd be way cooler to have an armor plated version where it holds its own weight and you have extra armor. Kind of like a modern day samurai type thing would be pretty cool. So I'll be probably trying to do that. Also, I have some other projects that I thought of that I'd try to attempt. But otherwise, yeah, decent purchase. Recommend it. All the other videos out there that are about the Vulcans are true as far as I can tell. I watched a few of myself, and they show exactly how it is. So